And we're not ashamed to review. Reviewing is always a very important factor in really learning something. You review it again and again and again. That's the way you learn. Okay, you see in Kuf Aleph, there are number Kuf Aleph. That's the one we have to do. Kuf Aleph. We have to realize, number one, think for a minute, Rabbi Sai, is tefillah a mitzvah or not? Or it just happens to be a way of communication? Is tefillah a mitzvah? Is it one of the Taryag mitzvahs? What do you think?
No.
No.
Yes.
You say it is a mitzvah.
Avodah. You say no.
You say no. What do you think?
Yes, avodah.
You think it is? Yeah. What do you think?
I think no.
You think it's not?
The
Okay.
Rabbanan.
Huh?
The Rabbanan.
The Rabbanan. Okay. What do you think?
To feel I'd say no.
No. Okay. It's very interesting.
Rambam says yes.
But I wanted to hear what the people's minds, where you're at. It's very interesting. There's something you're doing your entire life, and you don't know if it's a mitzvah or not a mitzvah, or just a matter of communication. Truth of the matter is, it's both. It is a mitzvah, and it is a method of communication. But it's a mitzvah. In other words, it's a requirement. One of the Taryag mitzvahs that we got, what we have to do is to daven. Where do we learn it from? And it's not the Rabbanan, it's Midoraisa. Where do we learn it from? We learn it from the mitzvah, Ula Avdo, as we say in Kriyat Shema, Ula Avdo, Bechol L'Avchem. Ula Avdo. You all remember the words in Kriyat Shema, Ula Avdo, Bechol L'Avchem. So the Gemara asks, what does it mean, Ula Avdo, Bechol L'Avchem? I serve him with my heart. What does that mean, serve with my heart? It's with my heart. When I write, I have to write with my heart. When I do, it means avoda of the lave. It means the work of the heart. That is tefillah. That's prayer. That means prayer has to be from the heart. It's got to be something that you're really doing, and you have your full self behind it. That's the mitzvah of tefillah. So now you know what you've been doing all your life. You have been doing a mitzvah. Before you do a mitzvah, we paskin on the question, do mitzvahs require kavanah? Meaning to say, can I do a mitzvah without intending to do a mitzvah? But I'm going through the action of the mitzvah, but I didn't intend to do the mitzvah. For instance, you have a doctor in the hospital who is not religious, and for hygienic reasons, he's making a circumcision on a child because the science says that it's healthier to have a circumcision than to not have a circumcision. So he makes a circumcision. He does a very good job. Very good job. Child grows up, he's circumcised. Did he do the mitzvah of bris milah or not?
No.
Well, he did the mitzvah, but he gets no reward for the mitzvah. Why? Because we paskin, a mitzvah requires the kavanah to do a mitzvah.
The doctor gets no reward, or the parents of the child?
No, well, the doctor was the one who did it. Let's say the doctor is the one who did it. But who did it? A moel, when he does the mitzvah, he has a kavanah to do the mitzvah. He makes a bracha. He makes a bracha. What is he saying? Hashem gave us this mitzvah. B'tzivanu, right? Tzivanu, alamila. So you have to have kavanah to do a mitzvah. In other words, the actions that we do, we may understand what we're doing, but we have to realize, why am I doing it? Am I doing it because it just makes sense? Or am I doing it because Hashem told me to do it? This is, by the way, what was some of the Mefarshim say on this week's Parsha. Ve'ela hamishpatim asher tasim lifneihem. So many commentaries on these words. Eila hamishpatim asher tasim lifneihem. So you've looked through Parshas of Shpatim, many of the things there are very, very logical. Very, very logical. I need them to come from God. my own can understand such a thing. This is the way to live. It's menschlich. It's humanitarian. I don't have to have a mitzvah from Sinai. Mankind understands these things. This is right. This is wrong. That's why you have to say those words. When you do these things which are humanitarian and logical, if you do them for those reasons, you get no mitzvah. You have to have the kavanah that these logical humanitarian things, when anyone could understand, I'm doing it because Hashem said to do it. It's very good if you understand it and makes sense to you. It's very good. It helps. But that's not the main reason. The main reason is because we were given these mitzvahs. Hashem gave us, we're doing it for Him. So we paskin mitzvahs tzrichos kavanah. Mitzvahs tzrichos kavanah. Which mitzvahs are we talking about? All the mitzvahs in the Tariyag. All the mitzvahs d'oraisa. Anytime you do a mitzvah d'oraisa, you have to have kavanah. I'm doing it because Hashem gave me the mitzvah. I'm doing it to fulfill His commandment.
I have a problem.
Yes.
The first people who made tefillah were Avot. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov.
Well, Noah didn't Davening.
Okay, but Shachris Mincha, let's
Okay, they well no.
Then it was the kavon of the head. But nowadays, when we say tefillah, they are a substitution of the korbanot. So what comes first? The idea of connecting or the korbanot?
Let's clear up the confusion. Let's clear up the confusion. I'll get to the point. I'll get to it. So we're talking about you have to have kavanah for a mitzvah. No matter how, it seems to be, it's kind of strange. Let's say, for instance, take what everybody understands, hachnasas orchim. We'll invite guests, people who need a meal, not just a social visit. We're not talking about that. I don't even know if that's a mitzvah, hachnasas orchim or not. Hachnasas orchim is the way Avraham did it. People who are traveling and have no place to eat, no place to sleep. And you have the lodging and you have food and you invite them in. That's hachnasas orchim. People who are looking for a meal. They come, new people in town. They don't know where to go, who to ask. And you're a kind of person, you look for new faces in shul. Do you have a place to eat? Do you have a place to stay? And you invite, that's hachnasas orchim. Not social visits, family, friends get together. That's not hachnasas orchim. That's stop socializing. But you do the hachnasas orchim. You go around in the shul, you see new faces, and you ask, do you have a place to eat, a place to sleep? And then you invite them to come to your home, give them a meal, maybe even to sleep also, whatever. You have to have in your mind, this is a mitzvah d'oraisa. I'm not doing it because I have rachmanis. Not because I want to satisfy my feelings that it bothers me and nobody's going over to them. How would you feel if you were a new place and nobody came over to you? So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm going to go over to somebody else. It's very good. It's fine. It shows that you have a good heart. But when you're doing it, if you want to have the mitzvah of hachnasas orchim, you have to think, I'm doing it because Hashem said to do it. It's a mitzvah. That's vital. That's vital. Otherwise, you don't get the schar of the mitzvah. It's very difficult. Very difficult. People forget these things. You don't get the schar of the mitzvah unless you're doing it because it's a mitzvah. Not because if that's the way you feel, the way you've been brought up. It's not enough. You have to do it because it's a mitzvah. What is a mitzvah? It's a commandment. Hashem wants me to do it, therefore I do it. Doing it for Hashem. Not for my own personal self. This example that I gave you just before about the hachnasas orchim. Some people will feel guilty. How can I go home? I have a home, I have heat, I have food. I'm not thinking about anybody else. Maybe there are people who don't have that. I want them to have also. So I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to feel guilty. So I go around asking, do you have a place to eat? Do you have a place to sleep? That makes me feel better. That's wonderful. It shows you a good heart. You have a good descendants. You have good parents, good grandparents, because you have a good neshama. But doesn't mean you're going to get the mitzvah. You have to have in mind, why do we say, before we do a mitzvah, we have to say a bracha. Asher kedeshanu b'mitzvah savit sivanu. To remind us that. That's what the reason for the bracha is, to remind us that this action, which is very logical and very right, and it's very meaningful to you, the bottom line is you're doing it because Hashem said to do it. Hashem commanded it. That's very, very important. And therefore we get back to our tefillah. Tefillah is a mitzvah d'oraisa. Hashem gave his commandment. One of the Taryag mitzvahs is tefillah. Where is it derived from? That's secondary, where you derive it from. We derive it from a pasuk. We have an anchor point. Oh, what is it? Avodah Shebalev? What's Shebalev? Oh, came along the rabbis in the Mishnah, in the Gemara. Oh, but that means it's tefillah. That's what it is. But where you derive it is not the point. The point is that it is a mitzvah, and it's agreed to by everybody that it's a mitzvah. And therefore, when I daven every single day, I have to realize that I'm doing it because it's a mitzvah. Then I get the schar of the tefillah, because now I did the mitzvah. All mitzvahs d'oraisa require a kavanah to do the mitzvahs. That's what Gemara paskins. Mitzvahs tzrichos kavanah. The mitzvahs that we have from the Torah, the Taryag mitzvahs, require a kavanah to be mekayim it because Hashem gave it. Hashem kedeshanu b'mitzvahs havasivod. Okay, that's simple. As long as we mention it, mitzvahs d'Rabbanan, which are not midoraisa. For example, on Purim, the whole Purim is d'Rabbanan. Chanukah is d'Rabbanan. You light a candle, you light the Chanukah menorah. You put up all the candles, and you didn't say Asher Kedeshanu B'mitzvah L'Hadlik Ner Chanukah. You didn't say it, but you lit the candles. Do you get the mitzvah or not? We paskin yes. Midrabanan is, as long as you do the Maisa, you also get schar. Without the kavanah too. Without the kavanah to do Asher Kedeshanu B'mitzvah. It's better to do it with, of course. But there, midrabanan, we mekel, as long as you did it, you get schar for it also. Even if you didn't have the kavanah, because it's a mitzvah. Okay, so now we have the mitzvah, going back to the mitzvah of tefillah, which is d'oraisa. We have to now, what is the definition? What are the requirements of this mitzvah? How I makayim it? How do I do it? How often do I have to do it? Does it say in the Torah how many times do you have to daven? Does it say? Maybe I do it once in my life. I did the mitzvah. Maybe it's enough. So we have our poskim, and each one has their own opinion. There are opinions who say it's enough to daven, this is the Ramban, only when you have a real ace ratzon. You really need it. A shas hatchak. Shas hatchak. It's wartime. Now you go daven because it's really pressing on you. Go daven now. All year long, just go on, be a good Jew, learn Torah, everything else. To daven to Hashem, you don't have to all year long. The Ramban said, midoraisa. Remember, midoraisa. The basic mitzvah d'oraisa of tefillah. Ramban says it's only b'shas hatchak. When you have a real need. Someone's sick in the family. Oh, go daven. Now's the time to go daven. You have real needs? Go to your Father in heaven. Okay. One opinion. The Rambam says you have to daven midoraisa once a day. Once a day. That's all. Once a day. So we have already two opinions. What is the mitzvah of tefillah midoraisa? Is it only be'es hatzorech, or is it once a day? Fine. But we have Rabbanim who come along and say, fine. once a day or once in a while when you have a real demand. Come the Rabbanim along and said, no. Our Avos, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they are for us an example of how to live. And we see Avraham, he davened in the morning, Vayash came Avraham Aboker, Yitzchak davened in the afternoon, and Yaakov davened in the evening. They went to sleep and he davened. So we learned from them, they taught us that even though Midoraisa, I could be, I'd say, by once a day, but they said, this is the way you should do it. Better do it 3 times a day. Shachris, Mincha, and Ma'ariv. Now, we have this Shachris, and this is what we do today. And that is already Midrabanan. That's Midrabanan. What am I saying with Midrabanan? Because Midaraisa, the amount of times you do it is not 3 times a day. Midaraisa. But let me ask you a question. When we say that the Ramban says, only do it be'ez hatzorech, and the Rambam says, once a day, would they say that if you did it more often, you wouldn't be Mekayim a mitzvah? Would they say that? No. The Ramban, who says only be'ez hatzorech, or the Ram says once a day, would he be against you doing it more than once a day? No. If you do it more than once a day, so you did extra, but you did a mitzvah twice. The requirement is once a day, according to the Rambam. But if you want to do it twice, the Rambam wouldn't be against doing it. So the Rabbanim came along and said, all right, we're going to do it this way. We're going to say, since during the Beis Hamikdash, in the morning they brought the carbon tamid, and in the afternoon they brought it again, and now we don't have the Beis Hamikdash, so we're going to use Shachris as a substitute for the carbon tamid baboker, and Mincha for a substitute for the carbon tamid shemein harabayim. That's it. And Ma'ariv, what about Ma'ariv? So there's no kabbanis at night. What do? So, some holds say Ma'ariv is less important than Mincha and Shachris, because there were no kabbanis at night brought in the Beis Hamikdash. So Ma'ariv is sort of like a reshus. It's sort of a less of a madrega. If you daven, v'vadai, it's good. You get a mitzvah. And if you have kavanah to do the mitzvah of tefillah, and you get a mitzvah at night, by day, anytime you do it, you're doing it through a mitzvah. But the point is this, that when you daven, and we've been davening all our lives, all of us, we have to remember in the morning, you walk into shul, I'm going to do a mitzvah deraisa. Even though I'm going to do more than the minimum, but I'm going to do a mitzvah deraisa. When I daven shachris, when I daven mincha, the same thing. I'm going to do a mitzvah deraisa. Even though the times that I do it, and the way I do it, and the words that I use, and the whole formulation is all with the Rabbanan. But it's all based on the same idea that there is a mitzvah to communicate, to talk to God. There's a mitzvah. He wants us to do it. He wants to hear from us. We went into a covenant with Hashem. More than a covenant. Much more than a covenant. There's a famous haftorah that starts off from Yeshaya Hanavi. You have to hear this. It's absolutely amazing. The Yeshaya Hanavi says, Am zu yotzarti li, tilasi yisaperu. This nation, I created it for me. In other words, our entire existence, the Jewish people, we were a special creation. Hashem had it in his mind when he created the entire world, that he created a special section of that world for himself. Amzu, this nation, Yatzarti li, for me. Nobody else. I want them, they're for me. They're mine. Let me ask you a question now. This is a very important question. You have a home, a family. You have a husband, and you have a wife, and you have children. The children grow up and they go out to schools, they go out to study, they go out to work, they get married, they build up their own families, but they come home from time to time to Abba and Ima. We always know we can go back home to the base, consult with them, give them a little bit of nachas. Which is the more important relationship? The relationship between the husband and the wife, or between the family, the husband and the wife and the children? Which is the most important? What's the most sacred?
Husband, wife.
Very good. Of course, no question about it. The basic foundation must be solid, absolutely solid. The children have to know they've always got that base, that foundation to go back to if ever necessary. To get an answer, to hear something, to give something, whatever it is. They always got the foundation. Yeshayahu HaNavi said, this is coming from Hashem. The Navi doesn't speak from himself. Hashem is giving the Navi what to say. The Navi is speaking for Hashem. And Hashem says, Am zu yotzarti li, I created you for me. I want you with me all the time. Who is that? That means us. He wants us to be connected to him all the time. No separations. Husband and wife never are allowed to separate. Children can go out and come back. Husband and wife have to be together all the time. No separations. No pauses. All the time the foundation must be absolutely solid. We, Rabbi say, we are the wife. We are the wife. Hashem is the chasm. Hashem is the creator. He created us to be with him. We have an opportunity, if on an official basis, 3 times a day, come to him and talk to him, not only once in a while, every single day, 3 times a day, you have an opportunity to come and talk to me. You're my wife. I want to hear what you have to say. Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. And he's asking for it. He's asking for it. He tells us, I'm giving it to you as a mitzvah. I want you to be in communication with me. And I'm giving you schar for it. That's tefillah. That's tefillah. It's a very, very great privilege to have that ability. And therefore, we can read now, 151, what you have on the page, it'll make a lot of sense. Let's take a look at it, 151. B'tefillah tzarich liot kemo mufshat migashmius ve'inenu margish mitziuso ba'olam hazeh. When you're in tefillah, when you're in communication with your Creator, who created you to be connected to him, and when you are connected with him, you can't think of anything else. Nothing else. Absolutely nothing. You don't even think of yourself at all. You just lose yourself totally. And this is what it means in Pirkei Avos. Im ein ani li, mi li. What does that mean? He can explain what he means by that. Klomar, kishani ovo lemadrega shelo eda ve'argish klal im ani li. Ein ani li. I don't know. I don't know if I am to myself. I don't know who I am, what I am. When I get into this level of communication with my husband, with Hashem, I don't know anything about myself at all. Ein ani li. Then mi li. Hainu im ani ba'olam hazeh im lav. I don't know if I'm here or not here. I lost myself altogether. B'vadai ein li shum pachad b'machshav, b'vadai, ein li shum pachad. Yes, skip, yeah. Klal sheni avol madrega shelo edav agish klal imani li. Imani ba'olam hazeh im lav. I don't know if I'm here or not here. I lost myself completely. B'vadai ein li shum pachad b'machshav zaros. I have no fears of all kinds of thoughts entering my mind because I am so close to my husband, to Hashem. I'm with him the whole time. Nothing else can get in. I'm so out of this world, I don't care what's going on in the world. I don't hear anything. I don't know anything. I'm just communicating, attached to Hashem, that's all. Zo, Zapshat Mili. Ein Anili, Mili. I don't know about who else could come and disturb me. Nobody can come get into me. I'm too attached. But Salama Eza Machshava Zori Avoli. Avol Kishanili Atzmi. But if I go to shul and I'm just going through the process, going through the motions, and my mind is not there at all, I don't think of myself as being attached to Hashem at all. I don't realize that He created me to be attached to Him. I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about I want to go eat a piece of pizza after the davening. Thinking about Olam Hazeh. I'm thinking about my friends and my telephone calls and the newspaper and this and that. But Saloma Kashani Choshev Atzmi Ledava Yesh. I think of myself as an independent existence, as something. Not that I was created to be attached to Him, but I am independent of creation for myself. I'm a yesh. The Metzias B'olam Hazeh. Then the truth of the matter is, Oz Adarabba, Eineni Nechshav L'Klum. Then I'm really nothing. I don't understand exactly what I came to this world for, B'chlal. I don't know what I'm doing here. I got all off the track. I'm all off the track. I missed the boat. Zerush Amar Ma'ani. Kani le'atzmi Ma'ani. What's Saloma Ma'ani Chashuv. U'ma'avod asi Chashuva lefanav yisborch shemo. What does He look at me? Imagine how He's looking down at me. He wants me to talk to Him, and I'm coming in. My lips are moving. My mind is someplace else altogether. This is not a way you communicate, a husband and wife. They talk to each other, but no one's thinking about the other one. Then all kinds of strange thoughts are going to come to my mind. Of course, because my mind is not attached. It's not where it's supposed to be. It's as if I don't exist. I came here. My whole mission is just being messed up. Ki ika brias ha'adam ba'olam hazeh hu la'avodas Hashem yizborach. Am zu yatzarti li. My main reason for being created in this world is to serve my master, to be his wife. Varei ein ani yochol lavot avodaso. And I can't do it now because my mind is someplace else. Machshas machshava zoros, mubalbal don't see. The Gamashu Amru Chacham is in front of Rocha. Imani kan, hakol kan. You can understand the same words. We said this last time also. What does it mean? Imani kan, hakol kan. If I'm here, everything is here. What does it mean? You're saying that everything is here, that means it's all in you? No.
Ayin.
No. Ani are the same letters as ayin. It means, like we said, saying in Tehillim all the time for the soldiers in the war, Me ayin yavo ezri. Me ayin yavo ezri. Ayin is something which is not describable. From where? From where? You can't describe Hashem. It's from the infinite. From the infinite. That ayin is the word ani. If ayin is here, if Hashem is here with me, hakol kan, it's all here. I don't have to go any further. So that's how a person should feel when he goes to shul. I wouldn't be at all upset if you took this home and read it over another 15 times. You want to take it home, believe there, I'll give you your matana, take it home. And go over it, over it, over it. And you'll be a different person. That's how you have to look at tefillah. It's an expression of your relationship with your Creator. He created you, but He doesn't want you to be detached from Him. He wants you to be as close as possible, like a home. The home base. It's got to be solid. The children go out of the home, but they know the home base is solid. They can always go back to it. It's there. It's a provider. So you have to be part of that home base. Not consider yourself a child. Consider yourself the wife, not the child. There are other times to be considered a child. But now, when it comes to tefillah, such a close relationship, such an intimate relationship, that's a husband-wife relationship. That's not a child-parent relationship. It's a husband-wife relationship. There's nothing more intimate than a husband-wife relationship. But you know why? You know why? Because a husband and wife are two halves of one neshama. They were together in Shemayim and they were split. The husband came down in one goof, the wife came down in another goof, and then Hashem works it out that they meet and they marry. But they are originally one neshama. So what can be more intimate than the husband-wife relationship? Parent-child is not the same. Husband-wife are the most intimate, and we are Hashem's wife. All of us as a nation. Amzu! That's what he says to tell the Navi to say to Am Yisrael. Amzu Yotzar Tili, I created you for me. Not that Hashem needs us. Don't think he created because he has to do something. He doesn't have to do anything. But that's the way he decided to do it. He created a nation that he wants this nation to be a nation, but nevertheless, at the same time, still be attached. And we have that opportunity, that privilege to express it verbally and mentally at the time of tefillah. Shachris Mincha Maariv. That's something to think about. Okay, where are we holding? Okay, you can start the next page. All right, look at the kuf beis on the bottom. Kuf beis on the bottom, right underneath that. Kishi Yisrael mispalalim umizdabkin es atzmam Hashem Yisbarach. When Klal Yisrael is mispalal and they are attached like they're supposed to be. They're attached like they're supposed to be. Kol anofik, Shemayim, whatever that means, the kol goes out. Se'ena ure'ena banos siyo. Se'ena ure'ena. What does that mean? Se'ena, go out and see. Banos siyo. What does it all mean? That's all a mashal. Shir HaShirim Shlomo Melech wrote. Klomar. A person who is not fit for this union, for this communication, for this feeling of connection, and it's to him a little bit burdensome. Come on, don't be so religious, don't be so heavy. Too much. Come on. What, therefore? Yetzei. Tzeino. Okay? If it's not for you, so, by all means, you don't have to come. You can go out. But but someone who wants it, and he feels the privilege, and it's Noach, yeah, he should see, he should experience it. So the first ones who are not roy, okay, you want to leave, you leave. I'm giving you an exit, you can leave. But those who want to stay, Adarabba, stay and have the experience. Now we go to 152. 152, top line. Okay, Shomen Haklipos calls that when all the negative forces in the world hear this. We're giving those people who want to leave an exit. They can leave. But the ones who want to stay should stay. Oz, rotzim heim levatel adam hazeh b'tfilaso. They want to make you bilbul hamoach. They want to disturb you. The machshava zora, tanuge hazman, all kinds of things. So what is the person going to do if he's smart? Al-chacham, mizdabek be'avas v'iras habari yisbarach. A person will catch himself. He doesn't know what he fits in. Am I Roy? Am I not Roy? Do I really want to daven? Do I really want to communicate or not? So all of a sudden you get these thoughts because they see that you're floundering. You're not sure where you're holding in the world. They're going to try to disturb you. So al-chacham mizdabek be'avas is be'ava v'yis habari yisbarach. He'll grab himself, clench his fists, and not let these things get into his mind. Those negative thoughts that are trying to disturb him, he's going to now use them to, on the contrary, to strengthen the communication. I'm coming from a place where there was a suffix. What am I going to start thinking about all these gashmistic things? Mutar adabek behayoso shu koach mikochas Hashem yisbarach shu hachokma shenemar kulam b'chokma sisa. Okay, so the Baal Shem Tov is telling us he's very well aware. Some people, they're not sure where they're holding. Are they really into it? Can they really put themselves into the davening or not put themselves into the davening? So you have to realize when you're in that frame of mind, when you're going into davening already, you should know that min hashamayim, they're going to send you things to try to pull you down. Since you're not strong yourself, you're wavering, you don't know where you're holding. Do you really want to daven or you don't really want to daven now? You just want to get through with it, finish it off, b'yaitza. Then they're going to really come and try to distract you. That's the time to clench your fists and say, no, I'm not going to let it happen. I'm not going to let it happen. I'm going to take those thoughts and I'm going to use those thoughts on the contrary to connect even stronger than I had before. Okay. I want to skip now Kuf Gimel and go to Kuf Dalet. This is something where everybody will be able to appreciate. Shemati mi pikocho shemori hachsos echasid eloki Rav Baal Shem Tov shehizir al hazrizus v'azahirus basic tefillah anshe la'anoshim ke'arkeinu. People of our level, our generation. You might want to say, what is this man talking about? What is he? How can I shine it? Why is he getting so excited about all these things? Come on, just take it easy. Live and let live. This is what he's talking about right now. Listen to this. B'kadei she'inatzel min ha'machshavos zoros v'amar b'shem Giso harav Chosid v'reinu Rav Gershon Koteva. He's buried here on Har HaZeis, Rav Gershon Koteva. He was the brother-in-law of the Baal Shem Tov. I was at his cave many years ago. Sh'amar Moshel Yafeh Anoshim. There are people she'enam margishim klal b'tfilasim im hoyu b'machshava zar alo. There are some people who go through a Shmona Esrei. Well, also sholem im ramav. Did I have strange thoughts in my mind or not? Who thinks about that? I said also sholem. Let's go on with it. Come on. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Sit a mushal. There was a path in the olden days, in Russia, there it was. Path went through the forests. It was dangerous to go through it. For who? This path went through places where it was known that there were all kinds of robbers, bandits hanging out in the forest, waiting for people to come through so they can rob them, beat them, whatever. They're waiting for someone to pass through and they'll have their food for the day. They come when these unknowing people come through, they come out of their ambush. They V'tarfu v'osabo pitzayim v'chaburos, and they beat him up. V'chol mishu hu muchrach lelech derech hayar hoya mahalech b'merutza gedolim ho. Anybody with any seichel didn't want to give the bandits a chance to be able to be successful, so he would try to go through it as fast as possible. So it would be hard for them to exactly arrange how to catch him. In those days, things were much more primitive. Maybe he'd get by before they even noticed him. One time it happened, there were two people going together. One of them was drunk, but he was going by escort with the other person. He was able to walk, but he was drunk. The second one was normal. As they're passing through this forest, this path, the person who was sane and sober, he started to pass through that area with a lot of speed. And he left the other guy who was drunk. He didn't go as fast, but he was afraid for his own life. So he got through it, and nothing happened to him. But the other one, who was hardly able to walk because he was so drunk, Hasheni Hashikor, Halach La'at La'at, Psiya Acha Psiya, the Harotzchim, these bandits, Hayatorfim Osov, Vihiko Osov, Osobo, Chavalot, Betzaim, they ganged up on him and they beat him up and they took everything that he had. He was so drunk, he didn't know anything, didn't realize what's happening.
So you done very speedily, so you don't have machashuvas.
No. No. After they beat him up and they stole his money, he still continued on passing through, and he met the other fellow who was waiting for him at the other end of the forest. The first one who got through was waiting for him to come out. The Tama is Atzmal Hasheni Shozo. How did you get out that you're still alive? It's a miracle you're still alive. Luckily, they beat you up. The person who was drunk, Sheni Hashikar, he's wondering, I don't understand what's bothering you. I feel fine. I feel fine. What do you want? I feel fine. He was so drunk he didn't realize anything had happened to him. Hashiko to me also. He doesn't remember anything. He was so drunk, he doesn't remember a thing. In other words, they beat him up and everything, and they took away his money, and then they put him on the road to go on, and he thinks that everything is fine. It's still because he's still drunk. Until he shows him in a mirror what his face looks like, all bloodied and wounds all over his face. And he's beat up and hit all places on his body. The gam ksamim min adam, and he sees also the blood. Shoy says al begadov min apitzayim machaburas. Why nisha betikmilos of eino zorf klal, and he doesn't remember anything that happened. And he says the last words v'hanimshal muvon me'atzmo. The idea is, when a person finishes Shmona Esrei, what do you can compare yourself to? The person who is sober or the person who is drunk? He says, people on the average, you observe. Don't say anything to anybody. Don't become a mashgiach. Don't become everybody's, boss and tell them how to daven. But you look around, because once you have a certain, let's say, expertise, or you have a certain association with a certain inyan, so for you it's much more meaningful. Other people don't have the training and the knowledge that you have, so they won't be as sensitive. But you, who now have an awareness that they don't have, look around in shul and see how people daven. How does it look when the people daven? I thought it was a week or two ago. I was davening Shmona Esrei, And I don't know how it happened. Out of my eye, the corner of my eye, I was up to Magen Avram, the first brach. First brach, Magen Avram. And somebody else in the far right corner of my eye was already going, Oysa Shalom Imamav.
You told us.
I couldn't
I
believe it. I couldn't believe it. I just said Morgan Avram, and I was diving, not especially slow. I was diving average. This is what he means. This is the Baal Shem Tov. He says people go through Shmona Esrei, they're like drunk. They don't know. They don't even think about it. Did machshavas, no machshavas. The ikar is just go through the process and finish it. I'm a good Jew. That's it. Are you a good wife? Are you a good wife? Would a husband want a wife like that? She goes through the process, but her mind is someplace else altogether. She's not with her husband. She is not with her husband. She may be going through the processes of what you have to go through, but she's not there. She is not there. That's not a strong home. That is not a husband-wife relationship. Husband-wife relationship has to be very, very meaningful. Each one is thinking about the other, not about themselves. Each one's thinking about the other. I'm talking to my husband. I'm talking to my husband for him, not for myself. And I hope when he talks to me, he also thinks about me. That's the way you have a strong home, a strong relationship. You have to remember, there's a possibility, and there's room for it, that we have to think of ourselves as children of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Banim Hashem atem al Hashem Elokechem. There's a pasuk like that. We are Hashem's children. We think of Hashem as our father. Avinu Malkeinu. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. But there's a much higher level. There's a much higher level. The husband-wife relationship is a much higher level. It's much better to be on that relationship than to be on the relationship of Avinu. You have to come to your father. It's interesting that in all of our davening, Yom Noraim, we use the Avinu Shebashamayim all the time. I'm just wondering why they don't use this high relationship. It's a much more powerful, much more intimate relationship. I mean, a husband would, I would think, be much more concerned that his wife is happy than that his children are happy. He wants both to be happy. But if I have to make a choice, which is more important to me, I have to remember, Ishti Kagufo. This is me. We were together, one neshama b'shamayim. Got split up, we came down in different bodies, and we came back together again. Ishti Kagufo. My first concern is with my mate. Secondly is the children. So that's a question I have to answer. I don't have the answer to myself. Why we use in davening all the time Avinu Shebashamayim. I think the answer might be because such a concept, understand this, Rabbi say, such a concept. What happened?
The carriage with the baby in it was rolled backwards.
What?
Has a tape in it?
Yeah.
No. It doesn't have a brake one? No, he didn't. It was rolling back. Thank God.
Does the baby have a license?
Shakach. No, this kind of mitzvahs. So to answer the question, we'll end with this, Rabbi said. If it's so important, it's such a much higher relationship, why throughout the davening do we usually use the relationship of avos lebanim? We're always calling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as Avinu. I think the real answer is because most people can't live on that level. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to imagine that. Very hard to think of yourself as a child and you see your father. That's something which most people can take. Most people can work with that. But to work on that relationship of Ish, we're like Ish for Isha to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, very, very hard. Very, very hard. Although that's a much higher level. It's a much higher level. But it's not for the Hamon Am. Nothing. The Hamon Am has to work with things that they can identify with much, much easier. If that what gets them to daven properly, so use that. But now that we know it, we can use it. We can use it. Shalom Atzliach. Amen.